What is your name? Where and what do you teach? And how long have you been an educator?
My name is Melie Ros, and I teach. I'm an instructor assistant, so I'm a parapro for Seattle Public Schools for special education. And my special education department is SEL, which is a self-contained class, means social emotional learning. So I work with kids who going through some really tough times, and just being in a class with possibly 25 other kids is just too much for them. They just have this need to have either a connection or just have anxiety. And I think what it is just that they just can't be in a big group. And so I work with kids who, most of it is low income, or just kids just gone through some really horrible things and just need a way to deal with it. I do work with a lot of anger issues and just lots of swearing, but it happens. Kids are upset, and it's just how it is. And this is my third year working for special education, but I have been working with the school for 7 years. This is my 7th year working at the school. I'm an after school teacher also. So I've been jumping around. I've been tutoring math, and I teach other classes. I used to teach engineering for fun. I used to teach this really cool thing called curating, where I bring a bunch of stuff from the book museum. I call it my dead animal class, because we bring animal skins, and I get to teach them about the cool animals of Pacific Northwest, and about the Native American tribes that we have going on, that the museum gets from the Salish community and Salish tribe. And it's just for us to do that. I'm currently teaching Dungeons and Dragons for a creative writing class, and that's been a lot of fun because kids just think about the most interesting things, but they're also they're very creative and not at the same time. I do this whole big speech of this whole you can be whoever you want. You can you don't have to go by the same gender that you were born with. You can be any race you want, and you can make up your name and everything. And all the kids just think of putting their own names in. And then you can be any age you want, and then they're like, I'm 7. And I go, okay, well, you know what? That's okay. So it's been really fun working at this school and interesting being an educator.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
It is. It's a lot of fun. I had this one class where older kids, older boys, they tend to really get to anime a lot, my 4th, 5th grade. And I'm a student who was like, I'm going to name myself after this anime character. I was like, okay, that's fine.
What are some of the challenges that you or your students experienced in the past or are dealing with right now?
Since I mentioned earlier that I worked with kids with trauma, I have worked with my school works predominantly in a low-income neighborhood. So I have kids, 25% of them, lives in Mary's Place, and they just, a lot of them are refugees, and a lot of them, a lot of parents are essential workers, which is, they work in, hotels, or, they work in cooking food areas, and I think it's already hard enough for them to be low income and being on free reduced lunch and just not getting the things that they need. But when this pandemic happened, it was really hard because then they all started needing internet and laptops, and no one's going to provide that for them. So it's been a huge scramble this past year, ever since March, since we started this quarantine pandemic. We've just been surviving, just been meeting every week, twice a week for an hour, just checking up on them and saying how are you and stuff. And since I work in special education, it's really small, and these kids are going through something traumatic. But it's different now because not just my kids are going through something traumatic. Everyone's going through this whole trauma.
Right.
And like when all these marches were happening, it's just like it has kids reflecting on things a lot. You know, it's for them to acknowledge that this is also like we're also living through a civil rights thing, and it's harder to have a concept with them, but like it's kids know, kind of see what's going on. They just don't know how to express it in words. So like my kids are especially like they know that they're part of a system that isn't easy for them, and they don't want to, and it's hard because they're angry and they don't know what to do because as a young kid they like don't know what's happening. And so I think that was a huge challenge going on. Another big thing we're going on is that we were so used to just seeing each other like only twice a week because we're just surviving. I think a challenge now is now we have this expectation of just being here from like 8:30 to like 2 and just being on the computer all day, and it's exhausting. And like I don't even like want to look at a TV screen afterward. I'm just like I just gotta close my eyes, like just put some cucumbers on my eyelids or something and just be quiet. And
That's awesome.
Yeah, I just can't imagine what it's like with our kids. It's really difficult, especially kids just like want to make a connection and they want to do that, and it's hard because like now my kids, it's a small class, but we're integrating them to the big classroom, so they're also with the 20 kids, and which is the ironic part because they're not the reason why they're with us because they can't be in there, and it's just so overwhelming of so many kids just seeking out for attention, not seeking out for connection, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
Like all wanting to like talk to each other and stuff, and it's just a lot. Although I think one of my students is liking it because he just turns off his computer. Well, he turns off his camera and like mutes himself. And I'm pretty sure he's like playing Call of Duty in the middle of class, but like he's getting away with it because So.
Oh, so this is all virtual for sure. Like, yeah. Are you in the classroom or are you at home?
I'm at home.
Okay. And just like how all your students are also at home.
Yeah, they're all at home. I do have some kids that come to our school because I do have some kids who like live with 7 other like siblings, and it's really hard to like go be online. So they do come to like sometimes to like the school just to see, to like say that the computer's not working, but really they just need to be away.
Right.
And I think that's also very hard too, because I think they just need a place to escape from this and like just want to focus on school. And it's hard if you like, I can't imagine what it's like when if you're a sibling and you share a room with other siblings.
Yeah.
You're all like,
and they're all in classes. Not every home can have their own classroom, so to speak.
Yeah, so I think that's been really hard with my students. Yeah.
What do you want people to know about teaching in a pandemic?
I think just anyone who works in a pandemic, but just like teachers, we just need a lot of grace and just a lot of patience. We want our kids to succeed. We want the students to succeed, and we're trying so hard. I can't count how many times I've just had coworkers like crying, just like overwhelmed by everything, and just like already kids who are low income, they're already behind and most of the time in school. Our school is not known for academics, and just like knowing that we're already behind on schooling, just like in person, and just we're gonna be so behind, and I think that makes us worried, and just wanting your kids to succeed, and we feel that way. Teachers are such like huge empathetic people. Like they feel how all the like parents are feeling. I know parents are just exhausted just having to be with their kids and trying to balance stuff. Yeah. So, and like I don't have any children, but teachers who are parents too are struggling a lot. And I just think just so many things are out of our control. And I love teachers. They do have like a very strong A personality. It's just like things, just having things set in the box they want. They could do a schedule and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, it's like everything they know is just being thrown out, and it's all in the mercy of Teams meeting that we're doing, like technology that doesn't work half the time.
Oh man.
And yeah, and I think just like, I think it's like we really are trying, and it's gonna be frustrating and it's gonna be tiring, and it's just like, I don't know, it's just like all this energy is just down, and I don't know, it's just, I think even outside of the computers, we still think about our kids, and we're still thinking about like how we can help them succeed. So yeah.
Whether their screens are on or off, you're always thinking about them.
Yep.
Dang. Well, are there any joys of being a teacher right now?
I mean, I have a lot of joy. I have still some joy of being a teacher. I think I really miss my kids. Like, the one thing I love about education, especially at a young age, since I work in elementary school, I work 4th to 5th, that kids just have this strong desire to be a community and just wanting to reach each other out. Like I think, because summer sucked. Summer sucked for the kids. Like, they were inside the whole time, and it was sunny, and they couldn't see their friends. I think that was like, I taught summer school, and I think the thing they were like, one of the kids was like, I love that we don't have school, but it sucks you can't go outside. And I'm like, I'm really sorry, bud. And I think what it is just like, they have this really need to like wanting to connect to teachers and their friends. Kids are so excited. We had like almost 100% attendance so far. Just this week.
Wow.
Yeah, like kids really want to come to school. I think kids just really want to see each other. Like, well, elementary school at least, that they just want to just have this connection, and they always just want to talk to each other in the chats, and then we had to tell them to stop. And it's great though. They like, it's kind of sweet because like, I think the best way to say it is like, a parent was like, I don't even care what you're teaching my kid. I think my kid has this joy when we have recess with them, which is where we just turn off like our cameras, but kids are free to use the chat and talk to each other. And like, so they get to talk to all their classmates and stuff. And I think that's like their biggest highlight, just like wanting to see their friends and actually talk to them. Even though all they talk about is like, I got McDonald's for lunch, and they're like, okay.
Wait, so recess is like our version of those AOL chat rooms back in the day?
Yeah, it's exactly that, but it's like with 20 kids. and you add GIFs now to it, so all these kids are sharing GIFs and like emojis. It's great. I think recess is so funny. Because they're just like, I want to talk to you and all that stuff, and it's really cute. So I find joys of like kids doing that. And no matter how like difficult things are, kids will always like say something hilarious. I explained one time, but the story was like, I went to go see a student today and to drop off some technology for him, and I was helping him with like logging in, and I went to his house and I made a comment on his fence. It's like, oh, you have these cool cat silhouettes on your fence posts. He goes, yeah. And kids have no concept of money. So the best part was like, yeah, it's like $1 million. And I was like, oh, $1 million, right? He goes, yeah, it was $1 million. It was so expensive. And I was like, okay. And then I said, well, I don't have $1 million. And also I live in an apartment, so I don't need a fence. And he goes, you live in an apartment? You must be poor. And then I was just like, well, you're not wrong. I am poor. And
they have like just enough concept of money, but not enough concept of money.
Yeah. Oh man, kids are so funny about money. They're just like always talking about like, yeah, it cost me so much money on it. It's like, it was like $300. Well, $300 a lot, but like, it's no, wow, you must be so rich. I'm like, no. And so kids are hilarious. And like, I don't know, every day there's always someone like really funny. So something funny happens. And like, I don't know, it's like something you got to hold on to that moment. Because we are integrating my special ed class to like all the other classrooms. My coworker is in 3rd grade with some of our kids, with general education kids. And he sent us a message just like, hey, so-and-so is not wearing a shirt and his video's on. And we're like, well, is there a no shirt, no class policy? And he's like, I don't know how to call him out though. And oh man, it's hilarious. And then I think like spelling is still always gonna make me laugh. The other day, I think we talk about emotions. We do a lot of like emotional check-ins just in general with our classrooms. And this kid was trying to like write the word depressed, but he spelled the word DAPREST. Like that's how he spelled depressed. And I was like, yeah, me too. I am depressed like that. And so it's good. And like, I don't know, I'm really happy like seeing my kids wanting to learn, and they have this huge desire of just wanting to just see each other. So I think that's one good thing out of it. A kid did unmute himself today and just told us that he was just having so much fun being online school with us. So it's just like knowing that we're just giving them a little bit of joy. And I think us as teachers, I mean, yes, we should be focusing on academics and educating others, but I think what we're calling right now during this pandemic is just to have a chance to give kids joy.
Yeah.
To look forward to. So that's what I could say about it. I just want these kids to do well, but I also want them just to be happy with life and just looking forward to being with each other. So,
Melie, I love the way you talk about your kids, your students.
Thank you.
Such a joy. Well, in thinking about this time, how can others listening or watching support you?
Support me is like, that's interesting. I mean, I didn't say this in my last part, but a friend of ours here from SPAAC came over one time and did a wine drop off for me. So, and it like meant a lot to me. I think I know if any of you all have any educators in your life or you know anyone, like if you drop off like a gift card to like a DoorDash gift card or like just for pizza, I think that would mean a lot. Even like, I mean, I can say it, drop off wine. You can't drop it off the school. You can drop it off my doorstep now. But yeah, anything like, it's so hard to think after school. Like once the computer's off, my brain is shut off, and I think like supporting that is a lot. Like my principal told me today that she just like ate a bag of chips and that was her dinner. And then I was just like, okay, well, same. I found a hot dog today in my fridge and I warmed it up and I ate that. And so it's hard because I just don't want to think it as much anymore. So if anyone wants to support an educator, you should always just either make a dish for them or like send them a gift card. And also if you have an educator friend who like posts like a wish list or donuts to choose, I think that's the best way. We don't get paid that much. And most of my money, some of my money that I get, I just bring it back to my students.
Yeah.
Like one of the biggest things is like when I was in person, we would like buy snacks for our kids, and it was out of my own pocket, and we would go like on Costco runs. So just to like get stuff for our kids. And I think, also, I think a gas gift card would be really great. I'm doing deliveries, so if anyone can give me like, a Shell gas card, I would love that. But yeah, so yeah, and like And if those who can't like provide money or anything,
Mm-hmm.
teachers who like host, if you have an educator friend who like hosts like a donors choose for a classroom or wish list, you can always share it and ask everyone else. Like expand the network.
Mm-hmm.
It's, lazy activism, but like, hey, we can get
Sometimes it works, right?
it works. We'll get
Yeah.
we don't know how. We'll get the money. We'll take it. We'll take whatever we can get. Like this district doesn't provide anything for us half the time, so we just end up using it out of our own pockets. And it's not like we're millionaires. Last time I checked.
Well, Melie, thank you for your time. This is such a gift to spend all this time with you, to hear the way that you've been teaching and influencing the next generation during a pandemic. So I know that your students are very lucky to have you as their educator.
Thank you so much for including me in this conversation. So yeah. Well, I think I'm ready to head out and maybe warm something up.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll have chips and salsa.
I was going to say, as long as it's not a bag of chips.
But I have salsa. I have salsa, so it counts. It's okay. It's healthy. It has all the nutrients, I think.
Well, have a good night, Melie.
All right. You too. Bye, Thomas.
Bye.